Greetings, greetings, greetings to you all. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Good evening, good night, good morning, good afternoon, whichever part of the world you're joining me from. Islam to you, my Moors, my Moorish brothers and sisters, for those who are looking. This is Dr. Matthews-Bey coming to you live from the southwest Mexican, the South American continent, from the Corporation of Guyana. For those who are now joining, once again, greetings to you all. Stay alive as you now come in. Stay alive. As a long time I have mentioned most of these things, but greetings to you all once again from the Corporation of Guyana to all the corporations around the Caribbean and in the diaspora. There was a few things that tend to kind of put me off guard today and last night. That I want to talk about. And I eventually talked about some of it with a few friends that I met today, and I was doing the roundup today also too. Last night, I was awoken in the early hours of this morning. In the early hours of this morning, when I was awoken to messages that were coming into my phone, especially those are from Facebook. It was very shocking. It was not only very shocking, but it was heart-rending because to see the mayor of Georgetown City, to see the mayor, his worship, the mayor Ubraj, or his worship, the mayor Pandit Ubraj Narayan, to see his head under a truck situated to a wheel. This truck, I presume to be a low bed that carries these structures that they want to move off of the market street, where people apply their trade by selling things out of these statutory structures that were built by them. What was so hurtful in that vision, in that picture, in that video that I posted back on my page is that I just could not believe. I definitely could not believe that was the mayor who was being treated in such a violated manner by members of the Guyana Police Force who was there and had no respect to the office in which that young man holds. I visited him today, and it was shocking to know that he had to resort to his expression to talk about a racially twisted government. Because the people who apply their trade in Newmarket Street between East Street and Thomas Street was there to provide a service to people applying their attention by the Guyana public Hospital Corporation, the GPHC. You know, that is why I decided to not only start tonight's program on that topic, but if you realize some hours ago, I posted a series of what an occupation is on the land of Palestine by those we call the invaders, the Israelis. That is happening today. That is happening to Georgetown. You see, right away, I was brought to the attention by the actions of a terrorist government, the People's Progressive Terrorist Party. The thing is that these people not only have no conscience, but they have no regard for life. So I'm going to talk about them tonight. I'm going to reveal their attributes to the general public of the corporation of there, and to those who have been affected by their actions. The CPP is operating like not only like a terrorist government or a dictatorship. They want to take away all powers from the local government that makes up the democratic constituencies around Guyana. And mind you, why I say democratic. You see, I was wondering why my fellow commentators, especially Mr. Burke, always recommend or refer to them as an apartheid system, as an apartheid government, by an apartheid state. But now I see what he's talking about. They are trying to cripple the local government organ to take control of those organs, to occupy not only the capital city of Guyana, but to occupy the state of Guyana. That is what they're doing. So gradually, bit by bit, we're moving into a military occupation. First, that military occupation comes from the State Department of the United States by not only bullying the state of Guyana, the corporate state of Guyana, of their resources, but also putting them under an occupation by an apartheid terrorist regime, the PPP. And by doing that, they create concentration camps where you divide and rule the people, and you give them a bit of crumbs to fight over. You not only divide and rule, but you put them under what you call a systematic racist occupation. And by doing that, they award these contracts to people who are predominantly everyday supporters. See, if you realize, the people who are occupying the citizens, taking away their rights, which are called Guyanese, are less than 2% of the majority of people who refuses to allow them to occupy them. So Guyana is now ruled by a 2% minority who calls themselves now the middle class and the upper class. The Chachus, that's what is happening. And those who may look like them but not being able to function like them, they are the outcast. And that took me back a bit because this was a plan in making. You see, the plan was to create terror within the state and the public of Guyana. And by doing so, you had to create terror by what you call a genocide. So between a 10-year period of the same monster who's Mr. Jack Deal, that monster really had created terror by orchestrating a genocide in this country by the deaths of 1,480 people who have died under his watch and under his regime that promoted terror. Do you remember? It was his administration under Ronald Gadrach who came out blatantly and told the public that if he had to do it again, he would use the same strategies and methods to tear down a criminal enterprise in Guyana by the lives of 1,480 Guyanese. He was the one that employed the criminal elements that you call the phantom gas, had them living in couple houses away from him. His force ready and waiting, not only to suppress those who would arise up to them, but to promote oppression under the watchful and gazing eyes of the young dictator and terrorist, Mr. Javier. Now, it has gone past that. He's back again, promoting the same ideologies, promoting the same terroristic ideologies, dictatorship. And he's trying to show you that there's nothing that can make him stop doing what he's doing. Guyanese, all. This is horrific because we are now in an apartheid state where he's putting pressure upon the lower class of people that you may call to subvert their position into a more oppressive position so they can be blinded from the truth and the fact in which he is about to. Can you remember? Take a good look. When he was president, he knew what he allowed to happen because it was subverting the direction and the focus, the attention upon things that are matters to us the most, the deaths of young Guyanese, than for us to pay our attention and focus upon the destruction of the economy that he's doing. Yes, this is an apartheid state. And it will never happen under my watch. I will never allow it to happen under your watch, Simon. You have to know exactly what do you want as a people. You have to perfectly know what you want as a people. This cannot be something that can be swept under the rug because this is an arising oppression and dictatorship. Because you're not giving the people anything. The little handouts that you're talking about, they're trying to show you it doesn't and it cannot do anything for them. Every time here, when there's a little $200-300, it doesn't make sense. It's not doing anything. It's not making the lives of the people easier because people doesn't. A lot of people are failing to recognize that the cost of living is arising to itself. Things are so expensive that people cannot afford to grow and sell produce to either equip them for tomorrow, which is the fire and this is a fire and this is for the betterment of their lives and economy by what we call food security. They cannot afford it because of the heavy influx of poison. I'm talking about the refined products that they're now importing into the country of Guyana, the corporation of Guyana. I come to you tonight not only as a state citizen, not only as an Aboriginal indigenous person, but I come here to you tonight as a revolutionary, somebody who is sits and revolts against oppression among their people. I cannot sit down and allow this. I don't know what else that I can tell you because this is an apartheid state that we're going into. We're going into where South Africa came out from. Just 1994. South Africa came out from that. 1994, that's roughly what? That's 4, 10, and 10 is 20. Okay, that's roughly 6 and 2, 28 years ago. Sorry, 18 years ago. Yeah. That's roughly 18 years. Sorry. I'm correct. 28 years ago. 94 and 6, 10 and 10, 20. Yeah. 2010, 2020, and 2. 28 years ago. That's what that country came out from. Now we're going into it by a regime that is still in doing that, creating an apartheid structure where the vote has no say at all. Where the people who is going to the polls and vote for the government of their choice has no say anymore. And that's what they're doing. They want to create a situation where they are always in power, not by a way of an election, but by a way of a dictatorship. That's where we're going. His worship, the Mayor Ubraj, called out the religious bodies and then he apologized for it. Fine. But I got to call them out because they are condoling the highest level of dictatorship and apartheid among a people that is highly oppressed by a racist regime, by bigoted, racist people. That's what they're doing. So now is the best time to call them out. Because they have their own people going to church, praying to all the gods, and praying for change when they cannot speak out about it. They're afraid to speak out about it, because then they are no better than the de facto regime that is practicing an apartheid system among its citizens. They are no better. They are condoling it. They're in bed with the PPP, the PPTP, the People's Progressive Terrorist Party. All of them. All of them. I have no apology. Even if I hold public office tomorrow, I'll call them out still. Because I have no apology. I don't regard them as a religious body. I regard them as a group of business people. Because they know how to peddle fear and make money off of it. That's what they know to do very, very, very good. Peddle the fear. Keep on peddling it. And they make money off of it. By driving fear into you. And the more fear and oppressive actions of the present dictatorship regime, it is the better for them. Because the more people go to church and pray and ask for a change, while they sit there and make money, because the salary raise and they get a nice 10% from it, or 1/10, or whatever you want to call it. Why all these, those that condone apartheid actions of this regime, are sitting and saying nothing? They suddenly become domiciled and silent. Take a good look. Take a very, very good look. This young man who has a heart, although he's a pandit, who has a heart, that put himself down on the street, put his head on a low bed truck to prevent it from moving, to take away the people's livelihood. He sees it now as a racist action. And all of them who line up outside the city hall today, all them house slaves, can't vex to them. They know anything. They don't know anything better than to serve master. Yes, master. Master gives you a nice bowl of cotton. Thank you very much, master. Some crumbs that fall off the table. And the worst part of the meat, the head, the foot, the hoof, the tongue, the ears, the face, they take the best part and give them the worst part and they gone home. Merry Christmas. Y'all go there and protest for me now. That is the destructiveness of the People's Progressive Terrorist Party. That is the destructiveness. They want to take away the powers of the local government because it's hambugging them. You pass a budget for $90 billion, an emergency fund. This is what? What are you doing with it? You can't even give an account for the $600 billion that you don't spend. Now you come back for $9 billion. To do what? Who's benefiting from it? You spend $600 billion in 1 year. You haven't even seen the development that you're talking about. $600 billion in 1 year. We can see the development uh, from your from your developed lifestyle. You're now driving 30, $40 million vehicles, and you're living in skyscrapers. We have seen that development, but we haven't seen the development of the people that money was supposed to be spent to develop their life. And instead of you doing that, you're making sure that money is being kept from them because you don't want them to inherit it. They must not inherit it. We're living in an apartheid system. We will now live under what you call an administrative dictatorship. Occupation. That's how we will now be living. Because if the mayor of the town has no say in the town that he's put in charge of, well, then it's an occupation. And soon it will become a military occupation. Well, I don't know how that is going to share out, but they're trying their best to see how best that can share out. I don't think they're getting I don't think they're getting the full support of the military on that part, but they're surely getting it from the police force because they're using the police force now to tear down the authorities of the local government. And somehow or the other, the police are going to abide by it because some people doesn't know their role to play. Police are there to promote law and order, not to take away the powers of the government and local authorities. That's not the police role. But the police can be used to do anything because the president and the vice president are immune. Here is the laugh of this thing. These two people are immune from the law. They can do anything they want because the law protects them. But they can use the law to take away your rights, to violate your rights. You see where I'm coming from? They can use the law to take away your rights, to violate your rights. That's what they can do. You better believe it, they can do that. But you cannot prosecute them. You can take them to court privately on a civil matter. Maybe you can get the results from that. But they cannot be charged for crimes committed to the state. See where I'm coming from? They cannot be charged for crimes that they have committed to the state. They cannot be charged for fraud, for embezzlement, for theft. They can be charged for murder, but it's got to be a private matter. Got to be a private matter. They can be charged for like how the Miss Ferguson had the case against the ex-president, but he said he was so immune that private matters he cannot be charged with, so he found guilty and he has to pay $20 million. But here is the problem. He thinks that he can get away with it. So now they're trying their best to take away the authority from the local democratic arm. I'm talking about the local government, which has authority to make sure that handing and signing of contracts are executed for the development of the community. So they want to take that away now from the local government. They don't want community development anymore. You mustn't have a say in it. Why give my money? Who I give your money to put into their pockets? You mustn't have a say in it. Taxpayers, it's your money these people spending out. It's your money these people spending out. Whether it's the proceeds from the oil, well, they don't know they can't withdraw that how they feel like. So what they're gonna do, they're gonna borrow money on it. If they got $6 billion US in the bank, they can borrow 6 billion or something more because they got money there that can repay the loan, however it is going to be repaid. If it's by them or by another party. But they're making sure that they're using up all that money and more. Let me tell you something. The apartheid system is a book out of the it's a page out of the book of South Africa. And it's a page out of the book of then the Indian government that run along in the early 1900s to spread the apartheid regime all over the world. When it was occupied by England then. The same thing. And Mr. Ali, Mr. Jaguar, is furthering the apartheid cause. Yes, they're furthering that cause. That's what they do. You know the amazing thing? How can these two individuals further the cause and the benefit of the development of a country that they once ruled in a 23-year process and did nothing? They can come and do something now. They have a track record. They have a track record. Jaguar run this country into the ground. While he has an external account of 6 billion plus in another bank outside of the country. Heaven knows how we get all that money. You born with a gold spoon in your mouth. They ain't got no ancestral history of wealth that he could dig up and claim that it was passed down to him. His salary as president couldn't even get him there in a 10-year period. I tell you something. My climb to the political height in this corporation of theirs not only for my benefit, but for your benefit, not only for my children, for your children. Your children must never grow in a state like this. Must never. Never grow in a state like this. Some people say Noble Matthews-Bey. Do not speak it like that, but I have to look at it like that. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. I can't fear these boys. These boys have no respect for dignity and life of the living soul or the human being. They have no respect. They don't take it. By a click of a finger, they will snuff the life out of you. That's what they will do. And they will never cease in doing such. It will be their day-to-day assignment to make your lives unhappy, to separate you, who they will call the weak and who they will call the tear. The tear are many, but the weak is a minority, a little, and they want to control the masses. They're using the playbook of the Caucasians from the West, the Willie Lynch method style that was passed down from generation to generation. They're using the same methods and got you, the Guyanese people, in so much fear. Them boys exercising so much dictatorship that they're driving so much fear into you. Just can't believe it. When you're the people with the power. Yes, the people is the power. Without you, they cannot exercise power. All them fancy money they're sharing out, waiting to share it out for is for you to go spend back into the stores of those who are getting contracts to show, by example, that they're making their money. A simple report from all the heads, from all the ambassadors, the resident ambassadors to this country are talking about one thing: the high levels of corruption of this apartheid regime. But that's the only thing they're talking about. But they're correct, because corruption brings destruction. Corruption brings destruction. It brings mayhem and carnage. That's what it does. Because corrupt politicians can only be more corrupt. They would never be truthful. Just simply an account committee designed for the de facto state to give an account of money spent. That account committee cannot be held for the monies that have been spent, because they went to Parliament and changed the criteria and how the accounts committee meets. But if the present government is not available, then the meeting cannot go on. Nobody can be answerable or can give an account for the questions that needs to be answered. What else they can go to Parliament and do with a one-seat majority? Let me tell you something. I now see how carnage and chaos happens within a country, within a corporation, because some people think that they're Almighty God, and nothing can stop them. No one man. Let me tell you something, really. It is just so much little that we do as a people. I mean, not me, I'm not a Guyanese anymore, but I'm letting you know, you who are Guyanese, that not only is part of the system, but you're a citizen of the system, and they're using that as an advantage. They're saying you do not know how to manage and rule and run your country only then. So it doesn't matter if and elections happen and they're not the majority winners, they're already going to be there because they now use this word to understand that. And that word is credibility. They're going to use that. They're going to say the elections were somewhat credible. There's no validity anymore in elections. That's the same message they want to push in the local government. Y'all take my stupid advice. Try to comprehend what I'm saying. Stop listening to garbage on the social media. Stop turning on and listening to garbage. These people do not mean well for you. You're seeing it now. In one hand, they're giving, and the other hand, they're taking. And when you object to it, they're going to make an example out of it. And what they're doing to stymie the process, they're taking you to court and charging you for things that there's no evidence or they cannot find no evidence. But they're doing that to stymie the process because they know when they do that, you'll be before the court in 3, 4 different things that will take a time. Because then they're going to delay the process because remember now they're the ones who are charging you. So it takes 2, 3 years to find. They're going to find the evidence still, but they can take 2 years to give witness. That's what they're going to do. These people are ridiculous. You better believe it. They cannot win an election. Y'all hear what I'm telling you? They can only rig an election. They cannot win it. By no means necessary. So the only thing they can do is have a dictatorship state, a failed government, while they reap and rape the coffers of the taxpayers and the monies that belongs to the corporation of the people. That's what they're good at. And as long as they keep bowing and wiggling to the international community, they don't have a problem. Because the next election, they can get the same international community to say, hey, why didn't you hand over the government to the Jaguar administration because of credibility in the election? You could imagine that. So all them who writing and giving out a what you call a screenshot for the report and corruption, it's the same people that put the same people there to talk about corruption.
You have to stand up to make your voices heard and your votes count. When the local government elections happen, come out and vote. Y'all come out and vote. Because it's the only way you can grab your own powers back and to support a leader who intends not only to let your voices be heard, but your votes are counted properly and power is restored for the people, by the people, and not a dictatorship apartheid regime that is bent upon racism, horror, terror, murder, mayhem, carnage, and genocide. All those things in one. This is Dr. Matthews-Bey saying thank you for the time that you have spent here viewing this program and listening to me. And thank you also for that time that you have shared this program tonight so we can move on further. I am Noble Gavin Matthews-Bey. Not only running in the local government authority as council, but a proportional representative council to represent the people in District Number 5. Remember that when this election is called, how you have to go about voting. I do that under the umbrella of the APNU. And I'm looking forward for your support on that way forward. Change we must, and change we can. That is my. So I say to you, once again, this is Noble Gavin Matthews-Bey saying stay safe, be careful, sanitize yourself, wear a mask. Don't forget the little ones you take into public places. Good night and Cheerios for now.